So we have thanking and inviting people or your audience to ask questions. Okay, so you would say thank you for listening, and now if there is anyone with question, I will be pleased to answer them. So say thank you for listening. So it is polite to just say thank you to your audience. So you'll go ahead and say thank you for listening. And now I would like to answer any questions that you may have. That is one. Or you'd say, would anyone like to ask questions? Would anyone like to ask questions? Would anyone like to ask questions? Would anyone like to ask questions, or does anyone have any questions? Does anyone have any questions? Okay, so this means you're inviting them to ask you questions. Okay, that brings me to the end of my presentation, you would say. That brings me to the end of my presentation. Thank you. You would say thank you, of course. Thank you for your attention. So you have identified that you're finishing up and you have thanked your audience. And then you go ahead, I will be glad to answer any questions you may have. I would be glad to answer any questions you may have. So one, you ended the presentation, you thanked your audience, and then you invited them to ask any questions. So those are some of the ways in which you can thank and invite your audience to ask questions. So let us go through them again. Thank you for listening, and now I would like to answer any questions that you may have. Would anyone like to ask questions? Does anyone have any questions? That brings me to the end of my presentation. Thank you for your attention. I would be glad to answer any questions that you may have. Okay, good. So when you're handling the questions, there's some questions that you don't have control of, or some questions that you cannot answer. It is not okay to actually tell your audience a lie. So it is okay to admit, okay, I don't know how to answer this question, but there are some phrases that we can use to say, actually, I'm not the right person to answer that question, or I don't know the answer of that question at the moment, or asking the audience, is anyone able to answer that question for you? So I am going to give you ways in which of dealing with unexpected questions, and with that I call them how you're handling questions.